What is up, guys, and welcome to another edition of Market Marauders, being the market one trade at a time. If you're new to Market Marauders, investment channel helps you to find the best deals in the market. If there's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe. Definitely helps the YouTube algorithm promote the videos and the thumbs up as well. All right, so we got a pretty busy week coming up this week. A lot of things going on. Just basically the whole market is going to be moving. It's going to be a constant tussle for the top spot, I guess you could say, in the market. But I'm going to go over some of the different ones that I'm looking at that I think everyone could take advantage of, and give my synopsis of the overall market and how I believe it's going to be playing out. So, without further ado, let's jump into that. I'm also going to be answering questions, so if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the chat. I'll try to answer them while going over this as well. All right, so the first one to talk about is vaccines. So vaccine stocks are, definitely booming. I know Moderna got an AOK for 80 million doses from Europe. So that happened on Friday, Black Friday, and then the stock shot up after that. So it was pretty good for that. So next is Pfizer. Pfizer has been the only company that I know of that has taken their vaccine and filed for EUA through the FDA, which EUA is basically emergency authorization use. The FDA is the Food and Drug Administration, which basically has to approve, any use of pharmaceuticals that are out there. So, looking at where it was at, it seems to be pretty bullish. Denoted by the moving average 10 line, big above moving average 50 and 100, which is yellow and purple line. So I think next week we're definitely poised to get an update from Pfizer and potentially Moderna. So Moderna, went up because of that news from Europe getting those doses. But it's been quite a while since we got an update from Pfizer. So I think next week we're probably poised to get an update, potentially explaining some more on distribution, as well as confirmation of that emergency use authorization. Now, for the market as a whole, this is definitely one of the large catalysts, in my opinion, for the market moving. Market has been going up. It's been pretty green overall for the past weeks. So I suspect that this is not going to be a tremendous mover for the market, but I definitely believe it's going to give hope to a lot of those stocks out there, especially hospitalities and travel, to see that there is a clear path forward for integrating everyone back to the normal way of life. So I think it's going to bring those different niches or niche markets up tremendously because of the path forward. Now, Pfizer ended the day at $37.24, so pretty good metric for them. Definitely see VWAP was pretty high, means volume was high, and they had just a line that went continuously up for the whole day. I think that will continue, especially if they get that authorization that they have filed for. So going into the next one, we have Moderna. So Moderna went up as well, based off that news from Europe. So those 80 million doses that they're planning on getting, the pre-order for, definitely helped boost the stock. It went all the way up to 130, but it ultimately ended the day at 128.40. So not too bad of a metric. Still some good volume overall for the stock. Another stock that went up as well, that was going pretty high, is Tesla. Tesla just continuously went up all last week. So we kind of had this stair step sort of metric, which is kind of basically how Tesla moves all the time. It'll go sideways, go up at the beginning of the day in the early morning. It'll run sideways. It'll go up. It'll run sideways. It'll go up, run sideways, go up, run sideways, and go up and run sideways. So it seems to be the same pattern. So you could see clearly this is, the 23rd. That's the morning of the 23rd, and then it ended. And then we have the 24th began. It went up, it ran sideways. And then we see the volume spike again, which is the 25th. It went up again, and so forth and so on. So it seems to be the trend for Tesla. And I think we're going to continue to see that, as time goes on. It seems to be going down just a little bit to end at 584. But it did test the 598 78 value. So a lot of people are talking about Tesla getting to 600. I think it has potential to get to 600, but we'll have to see how that goes for next week. Now next week it's nothing too important is happening with Tesla, the company, but it was very close to that $600 resistance. So I think if it can break through early morning that $600 resistance, that 598 that it was at last time, I think it'll definitely go up tremendously. So going into more of the EV stocks in the EV world, we have NIO, which is bullish at the time of this video. They are above the moving average 50 and 100, which is purple and yellow line. So the moving average 10 is above the moving average 50 and 100, which to me I denote as a bullish uptrend. Seems like they had a spike, VWAP spike, but overall seem to be running sideways for quite some time now. They went up and touched 57.20, but then went down some and have ended up at 53.92. So not too far of a metric as far as that's concerned, but I would like to see them go back up and test this 57.20 metric once again. So going into another one, we have ticker sign FSR for Fisker. Now Fisker is part of the EV space as well. They have had a pretty significant rally. They went all the way up to 23.63, so that's a good metric for them. They've gone down just a little bit, so not too bad as far as that's concerned. I would like to see them go up some more. Now they do have their SUV that they're marketing. I think it's called the Ocean, but that's not supposed to be coming out until 2022. So what they're going to do in the meantime, I do not know, but it definitely is, on the horizon, joining the EV space. Now, there are tons of EV companies out there. There's Fisker, NIO, Tesla. Then you have the Chinese ones, which is NIO is part of that. XPeng, Li Auto. Just there's so many EV companies out there, plus the other ones that still make EVs, like Porsche makes an EV, BMW makes EV. So the whole space is beginning to become pretty saturated with vehicles. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think you have to figure out which stocks you want to join and which ones do you believe will have the potential to go up the most. Now going into Square, it's the next one, ticker sign SQ. They have gone up as well. They went up and tested this 214.96 level, but ended the day ended the week at 212.30. Now they had some news that came out last week. So the news that came out last week was that they were going to buy Credit Karma's free tax preparation service. So everyone basically is familiar with Credit Karma and what they do in their credit report system, and preparing for taxes and all other stuff. They have a large lot of financial services that they do, but this one sector for tax preparation, Square is going to purchase. So Square is kind of becoming more diverse. I guess you could say becoming more diverse, which I think is a good thing for the company. We can see it definitely helped a company like PayPal when they went into crypto. Definitely helped. It was a good catalyst for them. But I like to see, if their amount of users increase just because of this one service. So that's going to be the telltale sign. So I'd like to see their next earning, how this acquisition actually helped the company as a whole increase their amount of users, because in turn it's going to increase the amount of money that they're going to make. Now, next we have ticker sign GME for GameStop, which I'm calling the zombie stock because it is back from the dead. They were down for such a long time, but it seems to be that they have began to rally back up. If we look right here, they have been at 1192 for quite a while. We see right here they've been at 11 for a long time and have gone all the way back up to test 1674. Then they VWAP is high on them as well. And the moving average 10 line is above moving average 50 and 100. So they are in a bullish uptrend. But I would say, GameStop is definitely back from the dead as far as the stock price is concerned. And I think they're going to continue to grow. If you see, one of the main catalysts, I think, is, their sales of the new consoles, which is the PS5, the new Xbox. So I think that definitely helped boost the company as a whole because they were kind of struggling there for a while. I think they had filed bankruptcy or something like that. But I think positively as it gets closer to their earnings, we'll see that they actually are making a lot more money than we think they are, especially with the console growth that they've had or the sales from the consoles that they've had. I've seen videos you're talking about people camping out at GameStop to try to go and get these different consoles. People are still going to GameStop. So it's not like, GameStop is not selling items. People are still going to GameStop and buying games. They're buying systems. People are camping out to go get systems at GameStop. So all that momentum, in my opinion, will definitely help. And I would look for them for an early morning mover on Monday. I think there's probably going to be a squeeze. And they'll probably definitely go back above this 1674 level. So I'm definitely going to look for GameStop to be back above this 1674 tomorrow. Also, when it gets closer to their earnings, I definitely believe this stock's going to rally because their earnings is probably going to be a lot better than people think. People switching more to buying items online, but with the release of two consoles, especially being the Xbox and the PS5, and the amount and volume and media marketing behind those two consoles, I think definitely is helping this company with sales. They've been around for a long time, and I don't think the company's going anywhere anytime soon. The next stock that I guess you can call a hype stock is Palantir. Palantir, I've seen so many memes in the previous days about Palantir. About it, going down. I know this company, Citron Research, one of their analysts said Palantir is a full casino. So he's basically saying, investing in a Palantir is basically like gambling. The stock's up 300% since its IPO. So, that's one metric that people need to look at, the stock being up so high. Question says, how low will Palantir fall? Playing a put on them this week. In my opinion, the amount of hype that is around Palantir and the way that I've seen things work, I don't think that Palantir is going to fall down too much further. I think if it falls down, it could potentially test, this level right here, because this would be like another significant resistance. So I think it'd go back to 22, if at all possible, when it falls back down. But as far as it going all the way back down to 18, I just don't see that. I see it, potentially falling off early in the morning, going down to, around 22 or 2205 level, but then shooting back up, to this 33 level. There's so many people who are invested in this stock, and I think people are just gonna, buy the dip, as people say. So, there are two trains of thought. When it comes to this, there are people who are like, oh, I'm going to sell off and take profits. So I think right here, a lot of people took profits, especially after reading that article. But those I would call weak hands. So those are people who basically were just getting the stock to ride it up until it got to its tipping place. But then when that article came out by Citron Research, you know, it went down. I feel like there's still a lot of people who are holding on to, you know, this stock, even though it's at the level it's at, which is 27.66. But if we see, even in after hours, it started to go back up to 28.28. So after hours, it went up 62 cents, which just shows you that the amount of hype around this stock is not allowing this stock to fall. And if we see this 28, this 27.66 level is actually a resistance. So if I had a marker, you know, to draw a line right here, this is actually the level in which it began its run up to 33.50. So it's essentially starting back where it ended beforehand. So, excuse me. So I'd say, yeah, if you have a put on it, the put may be able to be executed early in the morning. So, very early in the morning, I would say, you know, if you have pre-market trading capabilities, you may be able to execute that. But I think a lot of people are just basically going to buy the dip. If you go to like Wall Street's Bets forum or any forum like that, it's basically everybody saying that this stock is bullish. So I think one person on this Citron research, you know, made the stock fall for, you know, a little bit of time. But I think the amount of people who are rallying around Palantir, you know, outweighs the Citron research thing about it. And I kind of treat this stock the same way as I treat like Tesla. So if we look at Tesla, you know, long-term bull for Tesla was Kathy Woods, and everybody on CNBS and all those other media outlets were talking about, you know, Tesla is a spec stock. It, you know, it's not a, you know, the best stock out there. You know, why would you ever say that? And then she gave her price target, and her price target was like extremely high. So, you know, if you follow the chart after that, you can see Tesla, you know, went up, you know, tremendously for it. So I think, you know, there's kind of like this disconnect between new money and old money that I'm seeing out there. So, you know, with Citron research saying, you know, it's bad, I think that's definitely going to be brought up, you know, into the space of like the Jim Cramers of the world, or, you know, the CNBC people who are going to talk about it, because it seems like, you know, especially, you know, any negative news on a stock that a lot of millennials like seems to be the fuel for the fire for companies like CNBC. So that's just my take on it. I think it still will potentially go back up. You know, people are trying to hold this thing till it gets to $50. So I think people are just going to buy the dip and just ride the wave right back up. So ARKK, is that a ETF or is that uh, a stock? Let me look it up. ARKK. So that's an ETF. What do they hold? What are their main holdings? If you don't mind dropping that in the comment. Oh yeah, they're doing really good. Yeah, it should definitely hit 113 by January 18th. That was a really good move to have a call on them. Uh, I'm not familiar with them. I know ARK Invest has been doing just fantastic as a whole, but you know, I'll definitely, you know, keep this to my watch list. I'll look at it too, so I'll write it down. ARKK. But yeah, it's definitely a good look for that one. I appreciate the shout out on that one. I'll have to go look at their holdings to see what they're holding, to see how that actually is going to affect it. But ARK Invest in general has just had just amazing picks. You know, it's very rare that you see a company that has picks that are so, you know, spot on. You know, when they were talking about Nano Dimensions, that stock shot up, and that was like a penny stock back, when they were first getting it. So they got it for dirt cheap. So there is some validity to a company like ARK Invest talking about the stocks that they pick, and it's not just all hype or some people believe. So another one that I've seen quite a bit is Aurora Cannabis. So ACB has shot up like crazy. With the current president that we have, I think it's going to be one of the talking points of this presidency is going to be the cannabis space, cannabis products in general. ACB may be a little too rich for some people out there. It was a lot cheaper way back, just like a couple weeks ago. It was like all the way down at $7.40 something cents. But I think, as Biden's potential presidency is being more and more confirmed, we all know this is going to be on one of the agendas. I mean, just look at President Obama's presidency and see all the things that were passed for cannabis during then. I think this can definitely follow suit. So if you are trying to get into the cannabis space as an investor and you're like, oh, this is too much money for me, there's also another one you can look at in the cannabis space, which is Sundial Growers, which I know a lot of people like because it's dirt cheap. And Sundial Growers is at 30 cents, at 39 cents currently, and it just keeps on going up. I talked about it, quite a while ago, but it seems to be on a bullish uptrend, and it seems to just keep on going and going and going. So definitely keep your eyes out on Sundial Growers. 30 cents, 37 cents, you can't really beat that. You rack up on shares. Don't know how high it has been, but 60 cents. So yeah, it's halfway to where its highest point was at. So 60 cents. You can swing trade that one and get you a quick 30 cents profit, and that definitely adds up when you have multiple different amounts. So 60 or I guess 40 cents per share, not too bad. Definitely something that I would look at since it's not at its highest point yet. All right, so let's jump off the cannabis trade and let's talk about retail. So retail, my goodness, I read an article. The other day about them talking about this sector right here, and getting choked up over here talking about it, but I think this is going to be an all-time historical year for Amazon. Do not sleep on Amazon. So for me personally, I have a video in my short that shows my portfolio for Robinhood, and I have, I think, 4 calls for Amazon at like a $5,300 expiration, which, people may say that's super far out of the money. It doesn't matter because, Amazon is just going to go crazy. I don't think Amazon is going to have a stock split like Apple did. Apple basically tried to secure itself as like the leader. I think Amazon has nothing to prove at that point. They don't need any money, any additional money from anyone. So I think Apple was just doing that to secure its spot, get some capital under their belt. But I really do see Amazon getting to be at a $5,000 stock. Now, you may be saying $5,000 is quite a bit. How could I expect Amazon to get $5,000? So let's just, hypothetically talk about all the things that Amazon is doing. Amazon has a pharmacy division now that they're starting up. So let's just think of how much money Walgreens, Walmart, Publix, CVS. So let's just take out the grocery store chains. Let's just do CVS and Walgreens as in general. Let's just see how much money those companies are actually raking in from filling prescriptions. And take those two companies combined and then add that money to Amazon. And I believe that, Amazon will definitely, not start off with the large market share of pharmacy prescriptions filled. But when Amazon seems to do things, they do it correctly so that it lasts a long time. They also have a large amount of capital, way more capital to distribute than a Walgreens and CVS does. And they deliver their stuff extremely fast. So it's not like, with prescriptions, I know it's a time sensitive thing. People like need prescriptions ASAP. Walmart has, Amazon has, next day shipping, and even sometimes they have same day shipping for a lot of their services. So depending on where you live at, you may be able to get same day shipping, but they'll figure out all the kinks and stuff with that. Because they're not doing it alone. They actually have a service that they're partnering with to do the actual pharmaceutical side. So, let's take the pharmaceutical side out of it, and let's factor in to the point where people were shopping less physically in stores. So just go back in time and, watch those videos of everybody knocking each other over at Walmart trying to get those deals, and at the different malls that are closed now trying to get those deals. Those people are not opting out of shopping this year. So where does their money go? Their money goes to Amazon. So I don't think people are going to say, I want to go to Walmart to get this deal, but I'm not going to buy anything on Amazon. I think people pick Amazon first, and then they say, oh, well, maybe I need to get something else. Maybe I can go to Walmart. So I think people go to Walmart to pick up essential things, possibly like toilet paper, stuff like that. But I think for gifts for the holiday season, I think Amazon is definitely the number one retailer, I guess if that's what you want to call them, retailer or online retailer for, the holiday season. We also have Cyber Monday coming up tomorrow, which will be, a telltale sign to see how many people are actually buying things online opposed to going to the physical stores. So it may also have been a case where people are just waiting until Cyber Monday to actually buy all their gifts instead of going to the stores which are closed or which have limited amount of people, going in and just saying, okay, I'm just going to buy my stuff on Cyber Monday and just have it shipped to me. So I definitely see Amazon being a $5,000 plus stock, especially because I don't see them doing a stock split anytime soon. Now Tesla, did their stock split. They, gained capital from that. It definitely helped them. They're getting included to the S&P 500. That helps as well. But as far as Amazon is concerned, whether they do a stock split or don't do a stock split, it doesn't really matter to me for the company. I think overall the company will be worth well over $5,000 in the next year or a couple of years. So I definitely think, they're set up to be one of the number one retailers out there, as all these other retailers are starting to kind of fade away into the distance. Now I know, Walmart is doing innovative things. All these other retailers are doing innovative things to help, out during the pandemic. But I think Amazon, has all the tools and resources to help make them number one. Now, speaking of Walmart, let's look at Walmart. They are bullish at the time of this video. They went down to 151.83 after they touched 152.71. Walmart overall, I think it's an okay, stock to hold. I don't see them going bankrupt or going out of business anytime soon, but I do believe that Walmart will definitely have, its hiccups along the way. So I think they'll be able to take advantage of this Black Friday shopping that's out here. But as far as, how many people are doing Black Friday shopping at Walmart, I do not know. Now, I do know for their Black Friday, they had their sale kind of staggered. So it wasn't on one day, it was on multiple days. And then on Black Friday, they had all the deals were there together. So that was pretty interesting. Going into Best Buy, Best Buy is bearish at the time of this video, denoted by their moving average 10 line being below moving average 50 and 100. They fell from 124.31 all the way down to 112.91. So they fell down pretty far, right during this, Black Friday, Christmas season. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for the company that they fell off so far during Black Friday. But I know the Black Friday season should be their biggest selling time of the year. So for the stock to drop off that much, it's kind of alarming for me, because I feel like during the Black Friday section, you would see the stock, go up rather than go down. So hopefully they can bounce back from this. It seems like towards the end of the market, they tried to rally back up. So hopefully there's a positive sign on them. Yeah, tomorrow is Cyber Monday, so yeah, we'll see. Maybe it was the same thing with Walmart. Maybe more people were like, I'm just going to buy stuff online than, going in. I think this Cyber Monday is going to be, a historical Cyber Monday, in my opinion. I think consumer spending in general is still pretty high, especially, everything that's going on. And I think there are high hopes in general for the market, with, 2 vaccines on the horizon. I think a lot of people are feeling more comfortable that we're going to go back to the way things used to be. Yeah, you got a call on Best Buy for 113. Yeah, I think you'll definitely get to that. It seems to be at the end of the day, they started to rally back up to 112.91. So overall positive for them. So, I think that'll definitely execute. Man, you got some pretty good insights on here with these calls. Man, your calls are like spot on, like right on target. But it seems like both of them are like 113. Is that like your special lucky number? Or maybe you just did a lot more research than I have. But you do have some really good picks on here. I do appreciate it. Definitely will take those into consideration. But we'll see with Cyber Monday how all these plays work out. Next is Target. Target is bullish at the time of this video. So we'll see how Target is actually going to be working. Yeah. Take what the market gives. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, she giveth and she taketh away as well. Uh, but it's good to see somebody out here, making great calls. Sorry, trying to get some of this water in me. So it's good to see someone out here making some good calls. There's some really good calls. I'm definitely impressed. Um, but let's look at Target. Target recently had their deal with with Ulta, that they had a partnership with Ulta. So I think that'll help the company as a whole moving forward. They're going to have their special Ulta Beauty section in their stores for all those people who do not have an Ulta by their Target. Now they can get access to Ulta through their Target. So I think Target is going to continue to be bullish, especially during Black Friday. I didn't really look at Target's deals. I don't have a Target where I live. That's a little too rich for where I live. So, I think people would to shop at Target. I do have friends that shop at Target, so I do believe Target is still making money. Overall, they seem to be in a lot of higher income areas compared to where I'm at, which is not a higher income area where I live. So I do believe people are out still shopping at these places. And with that Ulta deal, again, I think that was a good move for the company. Even though it's not currently implemented, they're working on it. So I think Target is still a good play for the long run. Now, another stock I want to touch on. These are stocks that have earnings next week. So first, we'll talk about Zoom. So a lot of people slept on Zoom uh, because they were like, "Oh, well, if there's a vaccine, no one's going to use Zoom." That was like so laughable because even though people are going to go back to work, there's no way Zoom's like not going to be a thing anymore. I don't think everyone's going to be like, "Oh, there's a vaccine, so we're not going to do video calls anymore. Video calls are obsolete." Like that's not the way it works. People are, have to make a plan as a company to integrate people back into work, and some companies just straight up will not go back to a physical location. They'll be like, okay, we would rather have people work remotely. If you want to work remote, if you don't want to work remote, then that's on you. So I think companies are going to be more willing to give options on whether to work remote or not work remote, since they have spent so much money implementing working remotely. So I think the option will be given to a lot of these companies, opposed to what people believe is like, oh well, we're gonna have vaccines, so everybody's gonna come back to work. I don't foresee that happening, especially if people have gotten used to working remotely. Um, I think it'll be an option for a lot of companies. Is, hey, you can work remotely, or you cannot work remotely. With that being said, I think Zoom is going to continue to be, a fantastic company. Now there was a dip, so right here it was all the way at $505.72, and this was like less than a month ago, and it fell all the way down back to $366.28. So that was right around the time where Pfizer got their efficacy numbers that came out. People, were like, "Oh, no one's going to use Zoom anymore. Zoom's obsolete." So if we look at this chart, we can see that it was all the way at 505.72, and now it's at 472.04, and their earnings are about to come out on Monday. I think their earnings are going to be fantastic. In my opinion, I don't think Zoom is obsolete. I think people are going to continue to use Zoom. It's a household name. That's like saying, oh, okay, Teams is obsolete. No one's going to use Microsoft Teams anymore because we're going back to the way things used to be. No one's going to use Microsoft Teams anymore. No more video calls. That's just not the way that it works. So I think Zoom's going to do fantastic. We could see it rallied up before their earnings. I think it could rally up even more. I'm going to be looking for that 505 mark as a potential exit point for a potential call, because I do believe, while the stock is on sale, that it's a good time to buy. So I'll definitely keep my eyes out on Zoom because I think they have huge growth potential still, even though we have vaccines on the horizon. Now DG, Dollar General, still going up. They got earnings next week as well. I think DG is a fantastic company, based in my home state of Tennessee. So got to support the home state. But you know, in general, I think DG has a very good business model. I think the stock in general shows that they were deemed essential during the pandemic first time around. So during March and April, DG was open. Family Dollar was open, which is the same as DG. So Dollar General and Family Dollar are like the same entity. So those were both open. They were deemed essential. So they benefited from the pandemic. So everybody was shopping. If you couldn't shop at Walmart, if Walmart was out of stuff, then people went to DG to go try to find it. So sales wise, I think number wise of sales, they were up significantly for that, and I think they'll continue to be up because people who may not have normally went to their stores started going to their stores and were like, oh, well, I can just get stuff here. So I think that overall helped the company as a whole. Strategically, they're opening more stores. From reading their press releases, they just opened their 17,000th store. So they're constantly expanding. They do put their stores in like kind of, I guess, towns more than cities. So you'll see like one DG in a city, but in a town you'll see like two or three DGs, or like a DG in a Family Dollar. So they do, I guess, semi-target like lower income areas in the state or all over. But I think it's a pretty good, strategic move for them, because they target people who are not going to be going on Amazon buying stuff, who are not going to, be going to Walmart because it's too far away. So business model wise, I think it's a pretty good company overall. Yeah. So yes, I do day trade, um, swing trade, and options trade. So I do like all three. Uh, whatever shoe fits at the time. Also do long term dividends stocks as well. So I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. So, but yeah, I do day trade. So that's why I do the penny stock plays on the channel, because that's research that I'm doing on my own anyway. So I just thought, hey, I would share it. Um, and then I guess for swing trade, it's kind of more of like these DGs, and these Zoom plays, and then options trading. So yeah, I kind of do it all. Um, and then dividend stocks, I have like a long term dividend portfolio that I try to constantly build, that I don't really touch. I don't really look at it. The whole point of it is just to gain value through dividend appreciation. So those are like the multiple ways of trading. I do have like I guess a day trading account, which is like what I just use to day trade. Um, but this is like for all the analysis, because I like their charts. I use Webull because their charts are awesome. Um, but to each his own. You can do whichever method you like. Which method do you prefer? Do you do day trading, swing trading, holds? Which one do you prefer? Another stock that has earnings this week is DOCU, ticker sign DOCU for DocuSign. Now, this company as well, people sold off, which was very crazy to me. So if we see, it was all the way up here at 226.15, and they sold. Everyone sold. Yeah, swing trading for options. Options to me is like the, I guess, the fastest way to gain and lose money. So, but once you, I guess, not master, because no one, in my opinion, has truly mastered options trading. I think it's a constant learning, tool. But once you learn the fundamentals of options trading, and you start to see how fast uh, your capital appreciates, it will kind of sort of be addictive. Um, but then also you'll have days where you lose a lot of money quite fast, which can also be equally as disturbing. But I think for capital appreciation purposes, options to me is the fastest way that anybody can, get money into their portfolio and grow their portfolio. So you'll see some people on, I guess Wall Street Bets and some of these other traders that'll be like, "Hey, I made, $10,000 in 1 week of trading." Then I mean that's usually the way that they do it. It's not like trading penny stocks, because you gotta think with penny stocks, it's almost like going all in. So I kind of put it as in like, let's say, what's a good analogy for it? So to me, I would say penny stocks is more like playing poker, and options is more like playing blackjack. So in poker, there are multiple ways, multiple hands that you can get to leverage your ability over the house, which is the dealer or whomever you're playing with in poker. So you have flush, royal flush, straight, two of a kind, three of a kind. All the different hands that you can have in poker, and all of those things are ways you win over the other team, which is whomever is trading those other stocks. So there are multiple different ways that you can string together penny stocks to make a profit. So you can say, okay, I'm putting $5 on this penny stock, $10 on this one, $15 on this one, $30 on this one, $80 on this one, and then basically out of those, 9 times out of 10, they're not all gonna hit, but a couple of them will hit. So I would say, penny stocks is like if you put a whole bunch of different stocks out there. Let's say you put 5 on one, 10 on another, 50 on another, like so forth and so on, and they all hit. That would be like the same as a royal flush, like the hardest hand to get. Opposed to options, options is like blackjack to me, which the goal of blackjack is to get 21, which in this point would be your profit. So you can tell easier, in my opinion, on options whether it's a good option or a bad option. Based on volatility, you look at the Greeks, but all those are fundamentals for every option. So if you have in blackjack, if you have like an ace, or if you have like a jack, a queen, or a king in your hand, then it's like, okay, I have a greater chance of getting blackjack or 21. So statistically that you have a better odd of getting a profit because of different fundamentals that you see, which are the deltas, which are the Greeks, and overall volatility of the stock. And those things are the same every single time. So earnings is always a thing that brings volatility to a stock. Um, I guess if it goes to like a drug, FDA approvals are always things that help with stocks, and so forth and so on. So when it comes to trading options, those are, I would say, options is an easier way to gain money over doing uh, penny stocks because you have to have so many different combinations of penny stocks to get the same amount of gain that you have from having day trading options or options trading in general. Sorry, that was a long explanation and long analogy, but that's kind of the way that I look at it. So DocuSign is definitely another one that has earnings next week. If we see a lot of people sold off for quite a while, but then it went back up. I think that it definitely has potential to continue to go up because DocuSign is one of those. I guess they say it's a stay-at-home stock, but DocuSign has been incorporated to a lot of different companies, and people see how versatile it is because it helps make business easier. So even if people are at work, DocuSign will help them sign the different documents to help get them through. So I think just like Zoom, this company is not really going anywhere because people have used it. They've adapted it to their normal form of business, and with the potential that people will get the option to work remote instead of being forced to come back into the office, which I think people are going to get the option to work remote rather than come back into the office. Then I think a company like DocuSign will still be around. So then we go to CRM, which is Salesforce. They are bearish at the time of this video, but I do think they have potential to potentially go back up. They, sold off from 266, went down to 247 seems to be, and they ended the week at 248.30. But I do think they have potential to go back up. We're just gonna have to see when the earnings comes out how good the earnings are for that one. So yeah, that's the list. Those are different stocks that I'm looking at. I would say most important from this list is tomorrow. Definitely look at some updates from Pfizer and Moderna. Moderna got its update last week. Those 80 million doses that Europe is buying of the first batch of the vaccine definitely helped the stock to shoot up like crazy. But definitely look at Pfizer. Pfizer is primed to basically get an update, and I think a lot of people assume that Monday morning there's going to be an update, and that is why this rally took place on Black Friday. So the market on Black Friday was not open for a full day, but we can see that it still had a rally upwards. So I think people are waiting for the vaccine news to come out. They're still waiting for emergency authorization usage. So the FDA's EUA. So once they get the EUA, then I believe this stock definitely has potential to shoot back up. And also we have to bear in mind that it wasn't even that high that it was at. So 41.95, which I think is like its 52-week high, is not really that far away from where it currently is at 37, 23. If we look at the grand scheme of how stocks move, or like stocks in general, like Tesla will go up $100 a day and down $100 another day, and then other companies like Amazon will go up, $200 a day and down another $200 a day. So in general, overall, I think a company like Pfizer, definitely has the potential to go back up to this 41.95 level or even higher because it is making the vaccine for the pandemic. So, I mean, it is literally going to be accepted and used by everyone. Like the demand for it is outweighing the supply at this point. So, I think definitely going to be looking for an update from them. Foreshadowing of what's to come in the market. And I think once that update comes, from the FDA, that we can definitely next see all of the hospitality industry move up in general. So that's your Carnival Cruises, that's your Hyatts, that's your Wyndham, Marriott International, Las Vegas Sands. You got Delta Airlines, which I think could definitely go up because I saw that they had a deal with Moderna to try to transport a lot of the vaccines on some of their planes. So you'll see them go up, and then once they go up, once the airlines go up, you'll see a company like Boeing go up. So Boeing just got the FAA passed that they can fly their 737 Maxes. I think after that, the stock went up, but then it went back down. Let's jump into Boeing real quick so I don't want to be giving you all false information. But yeah, they got their FAA regulation past I think it was like 8 months of being grounded. So even before the pandemic happened, Boeing was struggling for quite some time because their 737 MAX had software issues and a lot of other issues that were going on. And then the pandemic happened and they basically got clapped. So, after that, the company has gotten that authorization, which everybody has been waiting on. I know the whole company's been waiting on. And then there are a lot of airlines in general who've been grounded. So the normal flights they would have had, they aren't taking because of the pandemic. So I think it's going to be an exponential boom once we get an approved vaccine of, Delta Airlines, Southwest, Spirit Airlines, basically all the airlines in general. I would say American Airlines, Delta Airlines, and Southwest would probably be the top three that would probably benefit from this. But then Boeing as well with their 737 MAX being ungrounded and all of their issues being cleared by the FAA. So there are a lot of 737 MAXs that other companies have, but they're probably going to be looking at Boeing to incorporate those updates that they did to get approval to fly those again. So I don't think it's going to be orders that's going to be coming in. I just think it's going to be from Boeing fixing that software issue or what other issues that the 737 had that the FAA passed. So then next, I'm going to be looking at a catalyst for a company like Carnival Cruise, Norwegian Cruises, all those companies to be going back up, but that's going to be, out in the future. That's going to have to be after some more CDC regulation guidelines come out. Um, and I think that's not too far behind the administering of the vaccine after approval. So definitely gonna be looking at those, and it's kind of a ripple effect, a chain effect. So catalysts in the market. You have Pfizer and Moderna. Uh, Once they get their approvals, then you have the American Airlines, the Boeings, the Delta Airlines, all hospitalities in general, the travel stocks starting to go back up. That sector is going to go up. And then I think what's going to push that even more is going to be the retail numbers are going to come out from Cyber Monday, which is tomorrow, as well as Black Friday. Then those numbers come out. Those are another catalyst to push the market. So those are two waves of catalysts pushing the market going up further. And then I definitely see a lot of people profit taking. So, once those two huge catalysts come out, the whole euphoria of, hey, we have a vaccine that's out is kind of going to be over. So I think the market's going to have a pretty big rally. I think it's going to go up. Everyone's going to be happy there's a vaccine on the horizon. People are going to, hospitality is going to go up. The airline sector is going to go up. And then people are going to realize, okay, now we have to do distribution. Who's going to get it? Who's the how many doses are out there? Then they're going to think about, okay, there's a plan. How are we going to distribute this? And then how are we going to determine who is the most at risk, who needs it, who's going to get it, where can they get it, and all those other different factors. I think which some of them probably have been solved, but some of those, you don't know until the approval comes. So then that's going to happen. And I think once that happens, then I think there's going to be some profit taking that's going to go on. So I think there's about to be a pretty big wave, a pretty big push upward in the market, kind of a euphoria sort of moment where, everything's all happy. And then, we'll have a new presidency and all the other stuff's going on. But I think, after that, the market is going to correct itself, and then we're going to see new levels for the market as a whole. Definitely next week going to be looking at Palantir as well as GameStop. So those are like the number, I guess, 3 and 4 that I'm going to be looking at next week. Palantir, because just all the hype around it. I definitely was able to execute some options for it just based on pure hype. But I think from reading just all the different forums and stuff, and with this whole, Citron research, saying that Palantir is basically a full casino is what the guy said. I think that it kind of pissed off some of the younger investors, some of the millennial investors. But I think it's going to be, it kind of works two ways, a double-edged sword in my opinion. So, people who don't know about the stock, who don't really trade stocks, or who are what you will call lurkers, people who just lurk in chat rooms or like trying to find the next play or the next pick. Those people may have been waiting to take advantage or jump into the stock because it may have been a spec play. I think those people are going to jump in now just because there's some negative news coming out about it. Just the same way that, the Tesla whole Tesla thing happened. So if you look at Tesla, companies like CNBC love to talk negative about stocks that millennials, in my opinion, hold dear to their hearts. So if you look at Tesla, Tesla was like the millennia stock of the century. So most millennial investors, me included, know what Tesla is. We know what products they make. We know their potential. Then you had a person who was not a millennial named Kathy Woods who started talking about the potential growth of Tesla and, how big it would be and how much it would go up, which was the mortal sin. So all the boomers out there were like, nope, you can't side with the millennials. You can't side with them. They are all wrong. So once that happened, I think all the publicity in general of the stock helped to boost the stock. So publicity, in my opinion, is not always a bad thing when it comes to stocks. It just helps more people know about what the stock is and what they do. So I think, with that being said, they will potentially, you know, go up because there's so much hype around it. There's so many people who have money invested in this, whether it's, naked calls, option spreads, debit spreads, iron condors, every type of way they're trying to flip this thing. I think, you know, that will be the way. The next I'm gonna say is GameStop. Definitely gonna see a lot of people jumping into this one in the morning. So we'll be looking into that one. But I think it potentially has, some validity behind that with the sales numbers of the new consoles coming out. So that's basically the list. I'm going to go over the list real quick. So it's Pfizer, Moderna, Tesla, Neo, Fisker, Square, GameStop, Palantir, Aurora Cannabis, Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, Target, Zoom, Dollar General, DocuSign. Then there's CRM for Salesforce. There's ARC Innovative ETF, which I was told about during the stream, so that's a good one. And there's Sundial Growers, which is cannabis penny stock. And lastly, Boeing. So those are the ones I'm looking at for this week. I'll probably be looking at some more this week, but those are the ones I'm looking at for now. I'm going to be looking at tomorrow for potential movers. Hope everybody's able to lock in some profits this week. If you are able to lock in profits, make sure you drop your moves down in the comment section. I think everybody would love to hear about the different moves that are going on. I know somebody earlier during the stream talked about the different calls and options that they had. It definitely helps everybody in the chat when you talk about your, I guess, wins or losses. If you made a loss in a stock, that's not always a bad thing. It's just a learning lesson. Just like if you made a win or a gain in a stock, that's a learning lesson. I do have a short talking about my current portfolio. So if you'll check out the shorts section on my page, there's says My Trades is the name of the short. And it just talks about some of the plays that I currently have going on. I'll try to do that like every week just to give people a quick, glimpse into the trades that I'm making or the trades that I currently have. I know that helps people out as well. Gives them a little bit of insight to things that I'm trading. But, if you're making some good trades, if you got a gain, if you got a loss, make sure you drop it in the comment section and, give the call or put that you're doing, potential expiration, and the stock that you're looking at. Because I know it helps everybody out tremendously. Trying to grow a community of traders. We all help each other out here. If I know some information about a stock that I think is going to go up, I'll try to tell you all. If I know something about something that's going down, I'll try to tell you all like bad news. I'll try to let you all know, and you all do the same, help everybody else out in the group. And good luck to everybody out there trading, and I'll see you guys next time.